Hi guys, welcome to September's book reveal party. I am excited to be here. I am going to do a quick check here on Facebook and just make sure that I am live before I start jumping into everything. So, hope that a few of you are able to join me live because that's always a lot more fun. Let's see here. There I am. Okay, so we are ready to roll. So, if you got any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I think I should be able to see them. Hey Leslie, how are you? Hey Alina, glad to have you guys here with me. Let me see, trying to get my comments up. So, okay, there we go. So I am going to share with you guys our destination for the month and the books that the book club is reading this month. And if you're in the book club, you know already what the books are and what the destination is, because I told you guys probably a good week and a half ago. I know some of you are already reading the books, and I love that. So our destination is we're going north in the UK and we're going to Scotland. And I wished today that I had a tartan mug because I thought that would be super cool to be able to drink my tea out of a tartan mug, but I only have Hedwig. So I'm sharing Hedwig with you guys because we all know that Hogwarts is in Scotland, right? It's, I don't know, like a 8-ish hour train trip from London north. So you're in Scotland. So that's my theory. So I'm sharing Hedwig with you guys today. And I think it's funny that we always, when you hear of books set, when you think about Harry Potter specifically, they talk about it being in London, which very little of the books actually take place in London. But another story, another day. So the books that didn't make the cut, I choose books that typically are women writers, women authors, because I feel like they are underrepresented in general. And so I like to try and find them. When I pick books for the book club, I try to find books that are either easily accessible or inexpensive. Sometimes I get it wrong, sometimes I get it right. This month's books, I was able to find both at the library. They're not inexpensive on Kindle. Honestly, I didn't buy either one of them on Kindle this month, which is unusual for me. But I did find them both in my library, and that's pretty much how I'm going to roll this month. I like books that are engaging, that draw me in immediately and make me want to keep reading. If they don't do that, I don't really think that they'll engage you guys, so I don't go for it. So let me jump on in and share with you the books that did not make it to the book club. I found some super interesting ones this time and tried to choose a range of genres for you guys. And so here we go. The first book, and I wasn't able to get them to either show you on my Kindle or the books. So I apologize for that because I like having something to show you guys. It makes it a lot easier to remember them. But the first book is called The Highland Witch. It is by Susan Fletcher. And here is the blurb. Well, let me tell you, it's a historical fiction set in 1692. So it goes back a few years. And here's the blurb on this one. In 1692, brilliant, captivating Corag, accused witch, orphaned herbalist, and unforgettable heroine, is imprisoned for her supposed involvement in a massacre in the Scottish Highlands. Suspected of witchcraft and murder and awaiting her death, she tells her story to Charles Leslie, an Irish propagandist who seeks information to condemn the Protestant King William, rumored to be involved in the massacre. Hers is a story of passion, courage, love, and the magic of the natural world. By telling it, she transforms both of their lives. So, this one got really great reviews on Amazon, and it just sounded really fascinating. And we don't do many books that go that far back. And so I thought it might be really interesting. I love that so many of the places in Europe there's such a long history. I mean, if we get historical fiction in the US, it's like going back to the 80s or something, which it's not that bad, but you know what I mean. So I love that we can go back to the 1600s and read about what that might have been like back in Scotland. So the Highlands of Scotland. I also tried, when I chose books, I tried to find different places around Scotland. So this one is in the Highlands of Scotland and witchcraft. So there you go. So that is book number 1, The Highland Witch. The Highland Witch by Susan Fletcher. So the second book is a detective type mystery series, and it is by author Ian Rankin, and it is his Inspector Rebus series. It is the first book in the series is called Knots and Crosses, and this series is set in Edinburgh, which is a city. It's on my bucket list. So Inspector John Rebus, hopefully I'm not frozen for you guys. It looks like I am on my screen, but hopefully it just blinked in and out. Shoot. So Inspector John Rebus, his city is being terrorized by a baffling series of murders, and he's tied to a maniac by an invisible knot of blood. Once John Rebus served in Britain's elite SAS, now he's an Edinburgh cop who hides from his memories, misses promotion, and ignores a series of crank letters. But as the ghoulish killings mount and the tabloid headlines scream, Inspector Rebus cannot stop the feverish shrieks from within his own mind. Because he isn't just a cop trying to catch a killer, he's a man who's got all the pieces to the puzzle. So that one sounds super interesting. And I love a good mystery, and this sounded like it would be a really good series. So that is Knots and Crosses by Ian Rankin. And thank you, Leslie. Appreciate that. So Knots and Crosses by Ian Rankin. So if you like a murder mystery detective type series, this is book 1 of that. Sounds like it would be a good one. The third book I chose, this one is on the Scottish coast, and it's a contemporary romance. It is called The Bookshop of Second Chances by author Jackie Fraser. So this one, the idea of a bookshop, of course I'm going to choose it, you know. And there are a ton of books that are like cozy set in bookshops that are in the area. You read all of Ian Rankin? That's awesome. I'm envious. So there's a ton of books that are like cozy mystery type things that are set in the Scottish area. So if you enjoy that, there's a lot of those type of books. I didn't choose any of them, but there's so many books set in bookshops and things like that. This is the one that I did choose. It's called The Bookshop of Second Chances by Jackie Fraser. Thea Mottram is having a bad month. She's been let go from her office job with no notice. And to make matters even worse, her husband of nearly 20 years has decided to leave her for one of her friends. Bewildered and completely lost, Thea doesn't know what to do, but when she learns that a distant great-uncle in Scotland has passed away, leaving her his home and a hefty antique book collection, she decides to leave Sussex for a few weeks, escaping to a small coastal town where no one knows her seems to be exactly what she needs. Almost instantly, Thea becomes enamored with the quaint cottage, comforted by its cozy rooms and lovely but neglected garden. The locals in nearby Balderachie, I might be saying that wrong, are just as warm, quirky, and inviting. The only person she can't seem to win over is the bookshop owner, Edward Maltravers, to whom she hopes to sell her uncle's book collection. His gruff attitude, fueled by an infamous long-standing feud with his brother, a local lord, tests Thea's patience, but bickering with Edward proves oddly refreshing and exciting, leading Thea to develop feelings she hasn't experienced in a long time. As she follows a thrilling yet terrifying impulse to stay in Scotland indefinitely, Thea realizes that her new life may quickly become just as complicated as the one she was running from. After I chose this book and after I went through my research on it, I realized I read this book and I enjoyed it. So I'm glad I chose it again. That's the beautiful thing about having a crappy memory, is I can choose books and read them and enjoy them all over again. So this one is called The Bookshop of Second Chances. And you have this one on your ebook. I enjoyed it. So I hope you do too. Sounds like a really cute, fun, quaint Scottish town, which I like. Small town anywhere is always fun. So that is the third book that I have for you guys. And I've got one more that I didn't choose. This one's set in the Isle of Skye, which is another place on my bucket list. I would love to visit the Isle of Skye. It just seems completely fascinating. This is a romance. It's book one of a series of books. The MacDonald Family is the series. And this one is called 5 Days in Skye. The author is Carla Laureano. And here's the blurb on this one. Andrea Sullivan is so consumed by her hospitality consultant job that she's forgotten what brings her joy. She dreads her new assignment, a last chance to snag a high-profile client in Scotland. Yet the lush Isle of Skye transcends her preconceptions, as does the man she must impress, the rugged, blue-eyed Scotsman, James MacDonald. I like the rugged, blue-eyed Scotsman. It makes me want to read it. He's passionate about cooking, but after 6 restaurants, 4 cookbooks, and his own television show, he's grown weary of the scrutiny that comes along with living in the public eye. Soon, Andrea and James begin to sense these 5 days in Skye together may just be God's wild invitation into a deeper life and truer love. So, that one's just a straight up romance. If you enjoy a good romance, especially a good series, and if you want one set in Scotland, this might just be the one. And the Isle of Skye sounds quite lovely, as does the hero. Excuse me. So that is the books that I did not choose. And now to the books that I did choose. This is the companion book. I always choose 2 books for the month, and this one is the companion book. It's women's fiction. It is set on a Scottish island. I think it's called Muir. And excuse me. This is book 1 of 5 in this series, The Cafe by the Sea, and it is by author Jenny Colgan. She has a ton of books, and most of them are set in Scotland, which if you enjoy her style of writing, which I'm guessing you will, she's got a lot of good ones. So this one is, let's see, years ago, Flora fled the quiet Scottish island where she grew up, and what would she have done on Muir? It's a place where everybody has known her all her life, where no one will let her forget the past. In bright, bustling London, she can be anonymous, ambitious, and hopelessly in love with her boss. But when fate brings Flora back to the island, she's suddenly swept once more into life with her brothers, all strapping, loud, and seemingly incapable of basic housework. And yet, even amidst the chaos of their reunion, Flora discovers a passion for cooking and finds herself restoring a dusty little pink-fronted shop on the harbor, a cafe by the sea. But with the seasons changing, Flora must come to terms with past mistakes and work out exactly where her future lies. So this one is, like I said, our companion book for the month. It's a little longer than I usually choose, but I think it'll be well worth it. Jenny Colgan, The Cafe by the Sea, and if you enjoy it, there's 4 more books in the series. So that is our companion book, and our book of the month is Ellie and the Harp Maker by Hazel Pryor. Never know which way to go with these. This one I'm super excited about. She Hazel Pryor is joining us in the book club, and I'm excited to chat with her. She is, I think this is her second book, and I can't remember. I know she has one before it that is set in Antarctica and looks completely charming, and this one's set in Scotland, and then I think she might have another one after this, but I'll have to double check that one. This one, though, here's the blurb on this one. Dan Hollis lives a happy, solitary life, carving exquisite Celtic harps in his barn in the countryside of the Moors. Here he can be himself, away from social situations that he doesn't always get right or completely understand. On the anniversary of her beloved father's death, Ellie Jacobs takes a walk in the woods and comes across Dan's barn. She is enchanted by his collection. Dan gives her a harp made of cherry wood to match her cherry socks. He stores it for her, ready for whenever she'd like to take lessons. Ellie begins visiting Dan almost daily and quickly learns that he isn't like other people. He makes her sandwiches precisely cut into triangles and repeatedly counts the 17 steps of the wooden staircase to the upstairs practice room. Ellie soon realizes Dan isn't just different. In many ways, his world is better, and he gives her a fresh perspective on life. So, this is our book of the month. Our author of the month, Hazel Pryor, is actually a harpist, and so I think that's going to be pretty fascinating to chat with her about her harp maker and see how this book was inspired. I'm super excited about that. So I think this will be a lot of fun. So those are our books for the month. There are plenty to choose from. If you'd like to read one of the 2 books that we're reading in the book club this month, it is either Ellie and the Harp Maker or The Cafe by the Sea. Those are the 2 that we're reading in the book club. And we'll be talking to the author, Hazel Pryor, on that one. I will be putting a link in the community Facebook page today if you'd like to join the book club. We always have some really fun conversations going on in there. The book discussions that we have are fabulous. We have 2 Zooms scheduled, actually 3 Zooms scheduled for the month. One to talk about each of the 2 books. This is the first Zoom, this is the second Zoom, and then our 3rd Zoom will be with the author. So lots of great conversations going on this month that you can only get in the book club. If you enjoy digging into books a little deeper, digging into the place a little deeper, hearing the story behind the story, come on over and join us. We'd love to have you. It's always a lot of fun. So that is it for this month, and I will keep you posted on how things are going, but that's it for now. And have a great rest of your weekend. Well, have a great weekend. I know some of you are a little further along in the day, but have a great weekend and do some good reading. Talk to you soon.